Hello everyone, with the advent of 2.2 and the beta that has fixed some of the problems that came with the major overhaul that is 2.2, we've had quite a few systems changed that has, from my observation, made playing tall a big niche. Hard to play, but also considerably stronger. I should also mention, due to major revamp of your tech and Unity growth, being changed. This also changed how tall empires are played. This guide assumes that you already have a few games under your belt and understand the basic concepts of the game, as well as meta concepts such as tall versus wide, though we will redefine those concepts in this update. So the Toll Overlord, thanks to the changes to the Dominion tree, is no longer needed. It's still the same, but you no longer have to be specifically an Overlord. This has allowed us to go into another tree, and here we go towards expansion due to number 1, population growth, extra district on all planets, and administrative capacity. Right now the expansion is just great for everyone, and the administrative capacity is what playing tall and wide really revolves around. In 2.2, the drawbacks from your growth is no more some arcane formula, but a linear line that grows by your systems, districts, branch offices, and colonies. The difference between tall and wide is now that how much, or do you even go over that capacity? The Megacorp is all those things, but more, because as Megacorp your administrative penalties are 50% higher. However, your base admin cap is also higher. I believe it is by 20, but in the older one it is 50. Which means you will be feeling the effects of exceeding that cap pretty quickly. Fortunately, there are lots of society tax that increase that cap, and as such alleviate the maluses gained from going over the cap. The Wide Empire, as the name implies, exceeds that cap pretty quickly, but will still feel the sting, and final results will look quite similar to what Tall and Wide looked like before the update, at least towards the middle and end game. Though in early game, both of them play very similarly. Tall and wide, as it should be, is a question of quality versus quantity. In the new system, both are constrained by the other. The difference between a small power and a tall power is that a tall power has grown to its admin cap and exceeds it slightly. A tall empire, for a tall empire, admin cap is a soft cap that is played around. To a tall empire, it's a thing that exists. Well, for a wide empire, it's a thing that also exists. Nah, just kidding. They're simply a lot more liberal in exceeding it. That's literally what it all boils down to. Planets tend to cause it to grow very quickly, because on maximum development, a total size of 40, let's say an 18 and 22 size planet, will cost you around 84 admin cap. Yeah, that is basically over the starting limit even as a Megacorp. That is not even including the dozens of systems that you would need. As I said, however, by the time you develop them to full, and you should never develop them to full unless that planet is an ecumenopolis. I don't know, I just can't pronounce that word. That is because tall is all about value. By that I mean anything past the 75 population, since you cannot construct additional buildings, is not efficient enough to worth the admin cap. As a Megacorp, you play similarly to an empire for the most part, except you get access to commercial pacts which allow you to build offices on other people's planets. The higher the trade value of a planet, the more money you will make off of just having your office there. It pays for itself in around 200-250 months, depending on that value. Since it costs administrative capacity, building those in capital planets of your major allies is often enough. If you choose to play as a criminal syndicate, I will be highly suspicious of you in the game, But other than that, you can build your offices on any planet that does not belong to a Megacorp. Megacorps cannot build branch offices on other Megacorp planets. Don't know why, balance reasons I guess. They are great in multiplayer games because it improves diplomatic relations. Trade agreement means you both get paid, and the branch office buildings provide jobs for the populations. These can be worker class jobs or specialist level jobs. If you build that trade value building, a merchant job, which is a ruler class job. But that one is beneficial to you only if their planet has absurd amounts of trade value, at least from what I've seen. The final reason to build on a capital planet is the higher the population, the more buildings you can build on your branch. At 50 you get your second building, and you will find that bonuses are quite good. I mean 18 total research, 10 unity, 10 minerals, or 6 alloys. Sure, these cost upkeep like 3 or 2 energy, but it is very much worth it. I've even seen some people play very small, like very tall, but have branch offices everywhere. It's not my style, but it's totally valid. To further elaborate on that, imagine it like this. The guy is completely landlocked, so he wants to reach his admin cap or just expand his economy. He just builds branch offices just about everywhere. So now that we are up to date with the concepts, let's discuss ethics and civics. What you need to know about ethics as Megacorp is that it does not exist. Alright, fine. When it comes to ethics, most choices are quite valid. I am even working on a mid-game ethics change build when you unlock your civic points to optimize for your current situation. I quite like how Paradox made them much closer choices that influences a lot of things, so good job on that. In early game, you're playing quite similarly to a wide empire, as I mentioned before, except you avoid taking poor systems. You know the ones I'm talking about, the ones with like 4 energy, 2 energy, and 3 minerals. When you're trying to evaluate the value of a system, always consider the maintenance cost. Your priority should be 1, rare resources, 2, alloys, 3, technology, 4, energy or trade value, and 5, minerals. In early game, I like to get 4 science ships quickly, but not really rushing. What I do is I use existing minerals to construct stations and buildings. Accumulating alloys go to build those 4 science ships. When you have scouted a sizable chunk of the galaxy, by that point got your second colony, return your most skilled one to help with research. Now you no longer need a tradition or tech for that, so every planet that researches should have one of those scientists assisting with research. Your capital starts with labs, so definitely send one over there. When it comes to colonization, it gets a little complicated, so listen up. This choice depends on if you will or not are going to be going for archaeology project. If, like me, you do, you must remember when you do, when you turn the archaeology on the Ecumenopolis, you lose all unique resources on that planet, so life-seeded perk is a bad idea for your capital. If you want to use this perk, at least in my opinion, a 25-sized Gaia planet losing its unique resources might not be too bad in the late game. So if you do, go for it. Check to see what are the available districts are on your capital. If you can build around or over 6 farming and 6 generator districts, then consider turning your capital into a raw resource world. If it is less than those, your next planet will have to supply those resources to your capital. In the first Eternum campaign, I had to deal with a huge second planet that did not have those districts while my capital did. So that one will be built into the archaeology project, because in archaeology you lose all your raw resource production districts, and you will still need those raw resources such as energy and food. Minerals are pretty abundant on systems, so I never have a shortage of that, so I never feel the need to build the districts. After you have made the decision of which planet you will be turning into a Judge Dredd style megacity, you keep on expanding until you reach your first administrative cap, which takes around 25 years. It is okay to go a little over if you see very valuable systems, and it's fine to have holes in your empire as long as it does not hurt the overall cohesion rating, which you can find on the government screen. During this build-up, you might notice some pirates annoying you. And if you weren't careful, this is a sign to create Trade Protection Task Force, which consists of naked corvettes which are stationed at the systems where there is piracy on your trade routes. The way to see how much piracy you have, you need to look at your trade routes from a space station. This practice might seem like exploiting, the naked corvettes might seem like exploit or really min-maxing thing to do, but why would a corvette, a military-sized ship, need interstellar weaponry to chase smugglers? All it needs to do is, chase smugglers and pirates to board their ships. For that, they would probably use some non-lethal weaponry, which is not really your problem. Not to mention, this cuts down the maintenance cost of the aforementioned corvettes. Deploying one per system on the trade route should suffice for the rest of the game. And you should crush that piracy before it becomes a problem. Because if you're having a war and then pirates spawning, can be really annoying to deal with. Now, mid-game for you begins a little bit early. I consider mid-game when I reach the admin cap because that's where your strategy changes. Here you focus on technology and wait for opportunities to exploit your rivals. I will not touch on this subject too much because it is too complicated and it differs wildly if you're playing a single player or a multiplayer game, and if you're playing a multiplayer game, it wildly differs based on who or where your neighbors and rivals are. For traditions, get expansions, expansion for the aforementioned cap and bonuses. The sooner you get it, the more you benefit from it. Then I suggest go for discovery or prosperity, because as told, that is one of your greatest advantages. For Ascension Perks, I suggest starting with Technological Ascendancy or One Vision to drive your advantage further in an ever-increasing manner. Then it is completely situational. If you see a lot of systems you want to take and less planets, then go for Interstellar Dominion. I suggest going for Ascension as soon as you can, because the bonuses tend to ramp up over time, and by Ascension I mean the synthetic or psionic or biological ascensions as soon as possible. As a Megacorp, late game in single player is very simple. You turn other nations into your subsidiaries, which is the best type of subject. It is a best of both worlds of vassal and subsidiary, the tributary. While putting people under your thumb with politicking, economy, and military, which will be superior due to your advanced technology. As usual, you might not have the raw economic power of wide empires, but the quality of your empire should allow you to be slightly behind in raw resources while ahead in overall production. How you go about it wildly differs based on circumstances, and with the latest update, that is what I have noticed. In the old ones, I could say, take this thing or do this thing. But with this one, the only answer I can give is that it all depends, which is great because it means the game has become so deep that real skill of decision making is what rules over the game as it should. Let me know what you think in the comments, and stay tuned for our Eternum campaign recap from Arc Strategy, its own empire, Arcs Holdings United. We will be 2 weeks behind for that content, so as not to reveal too much of the machinations and to buy me some time to prepare the documents needed for the campaign. And in this campaign, it's a full-on RP campaign where all alliances and everything requires documents, which I am gonna be releasing when the time comes. Basically, the videos are going to be 2 weeks behind the actual campaign. And with that, we'll see you next time.